let's talk about the musicality of it. You mentioned earlier that this is actually a hallmark of the NYC Ballet Company, the George Balanchine style, and that's very evident in this piece. You also said that you like people who use their hands. That's also very evident in this piece, especially in the final moments.
Hmm.
Um, what's your approach? I mean, like I said, I could really relate to this as a musician. Ballet, of course, is by necessity and always by nature music related, right?
Yeah.
But this is particularly musical in a kind of like a precise way, I would describe it as. So what's your relationship with music, and how do you go about um, not translating? I don't know if that's what you're doing, but pairing dance with music.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I always think of like when I'm creating something, I want the music and the dance to match up and to almost become one thing. And George Balanchine actually has a great quote where he says, "You want to see the music and hear the dance,"
Hmm.
and he's basically saying that you want there to be a union between the two, so much that when you listen to music, say if you had seen the ballet, you would automatically be visualizing the ballet with the music. There would be like no separation between the two because the two so seamlessly go together. And I think in terms of my approach to musicality, it's has a lot to do with how I trained, because I trained at the School of American Ballet, where we have this technique that's very musical and very fast and dynamic. So that's very much a part of me. And then I also grew up playing piano, and I even played the viola for a little bit as well. But I listened to classical music growing up a lot because my parents played it around the house. I learned how to sight read and um, play music. So I have this basic knowledge of being a musician that I think helps me to understand the layers of music that can be tapped into as a choreographer. But I think all of these things, like training plus growing up playing the piano, plus listening to classical music a lot, and just music a lot in general, and allowing over time to just feel the very natural desires for movement in my own body with the music that I listen to, just allowing that to naturally uh, grow in
Hmm.
me helped to shape Rachmaninoff's Suite, the piece for Martha's Vineyard, into what it is.
So is it always pretty much always the case with ballet that the music like starts the process of choreography? Is there ever a situation where choreography is done first without a piece of music in mind, or is there ever a situation where choreography is done and then a piece of music is composed to fit the choreography?
Yeah, it can honestly be any of those options. I think the typical method for ballet and for ballet choreographers is you have a piece of music, the choreographer assembles steps to
Yeah.
fit the music. But there are pieces where the choreographer made steps and then later assigned music. There are also instances that are very collaborative in that the musician and the choreographer work together, like slowly but surely, to make a piece together, and to let that grow over time as well, and
Hmm.
to not um, yeah, to not have a finished piece of music
Right.
guide the
And I
ballet.
assume there's also occasionally like improvised works as well,
Like improvised
like
choreography.
dancers and musicians improvising.
Oh, I
Does that
think
happen in ballet at all?
it can. I would say less than it would in like jazz
Right.
music. Um, it can, but usually there's not a ton of
Right.
improvisation in ballet,
It
at
would just be
least.
something that would probably happen like after hours for fun, maybe.
Yes, totally. And it is I suppose a great route of choreography is improvisation.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Well, composition and improvisation are the same essential process,
yeah.
sort of partitioned out
Hmm.
differently. So if you can't improvise, then you can't really
Yeah.
compose.
Yeah, yeah, because your creativity is stifled,
Right.
right? And just not happening. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite moment of musical uh, terpsichorean convergence? Is that the right word?
Sure. You're
I'm trying
more
to be
savvy
too
with words than
trying
I
to do trying to be
am.
too clever. I think that was the muse associated with dance, but I feel
It no
pretentious.
no she yeah,
Okay.
yep, she is.
What's your favorite moment of musical danceophoidal convergence in that piece?
Well, I have a few moments. One I really like, there's the 13th variation is one that features the dancer Gretchen Smith, and it's sort of like she's sensing. She's trying to sense something. And there's a part where she does a pirouette. So she turns around and then she falls to her knee very graciously and um, does a reference to a Swan Lake motif, which, like, Swan Lake, I'm sure many people know about. It's like a major ballet, classical ballet. But this motif where she has her hands crossed and then she unfolds them. So she's on the floor with her hands crossed, and that's a reference to Swan Lake. But then she unfolds her hands on this particular like twinkle in the music
Right.
that I really love, and I love how Gretchen did that part too. But I really like the end, which I think comes as a surprise to people because the music gets softer and quiet towards the end, and then all of a sudden it picks back up, and the dancers do this thing with their hands where I was imagining them choreo or conducting. I was imagining them
Mm-hmm.
like conducting an orchestra with
Mm-hmm.
hands that were like just kind of flicking like this.
Yeah.
And they all do it. All five of the dancers do it just when you think the piece is about to end.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's my favorite.
delightful. It's delightful.
Yeah.